like to me, you are the youngest multi-millionaire Pakistani, the first of its kind. But how old were you when you made your first million?
I was like 22 on to 23.
22?
23.
Well, they're like, hey, I think,
23.
you know, going to school and becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, something that they're familiar with their whole life is what will work because we've seen it work. This is something we haven't seen work, so we don't think you should do it.
Exactly. And to them, that was their only sense of security.
Yeah.
Be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer. They didn't understand the other concepts of all these things. MashaAllah, bro, you bought your parents a house, right? You bought your sisters Ferraris. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? Right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
How much did those cost? What was that?
So one was a Ferrari 812. That was.
And then you bought your other sister one as well?
Her SVJ. That one was because I went to college for 2 semesters and then I dropped out.
And that was probably like crazy to them, right?
My mom,
you dropping out of college?
My mom was like, no way. I was like, Mom, just 1 semester.
So what would you say is a true formula for success? What is going on, everybody, and welcome. This is actually we can keep it rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not in our normal setup. Welcome back to Chai Talk. As you guys see, I don't have my mics, the production, the lights. It's very official because we got a very official person that we are interviewing today, ladies and gentlemen. I got none other than the man next to me, the myth, the legend, Umar Ashraf, my brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing,
good,
man?
Alhamdulillah, I'm
Welcome
amazing.
to New York.
Thank you. I know, bro.
Terrible weather, but better than
New
Cali.
York, man, no, it's not. It's not better than Cali.
Better than
Let's get that out
Cali.
the way. West Coast is the best coast, but New York is still amazing. New York is still amazing. But anyways, guys, today's gonna be a very special episode because we are learning from an individual that has made it, mashallah. He's Pakistani, first generation, all that. So I want for this episode to be a very special one for the youth out there that's listening and be able to pick his brain and be able to just learn how we are all amongst the same walks of life. We've all had similar experiences, relatability in the sense of our parents and all that. So, but how you doing, man? First, tell me in terms of what you've noticed about Chai Talk and kind of like, tell me about your thoughts about Chai Talk first, and then we'll kind of get into you and like, tell me about it, man.
I saw some clips of Mama G, and I was like, oh man, I feel bad. I hope she's okay. I saw a few clips on TikTok, and I was like, man,
yo, she's okay. You hope I'm okay, bro.
I'm like, is she okay?
No,
we're all worried about her. I'm like, is she okay?
What about me, man?
Listen, man, you gotta be okay. We're not here worried about you. It's all about Mama G.
Facts, man. See, the thing is, what about when they're telling us to get married, telling us to become a doctor?
We gotta suck it up. We gotta suck it up.
Telling me to become a doctor next.
We gotta suck it up.
Telling me to become a...
We gotta suck it up, and that's it.
But also, if you guys know from the title, I feel like you are the youngest multi-millionaire Pakistani, the first of its kind, and especially we're all able to relate with you, but also it's so amazing because you're grounded, you're so humble. So I want to talk about that a bit today and just kind of like learn about it and your upbringing, your experience, and also advice for all the people out there that are in their youth and that are kind of going through life and kind of unsure what it is that they're doing. But whatever period that you guys are in, profession that you guys are in, I feel like this is going to be a great episode to kind of just learn and just talk about, bro, how we all share the same life, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
100%.
Absolutely.
But also, I want to say, we are going to be talking about a lot like numbers. I'm going to throw out like, mashallah, the success and all that, but that's not, it's in no way showing off. It's in no way trying to like, it's just more so to inspire people out there to kind of know how it is, man. And let's just start it off. So tell us your net worth.
He's like straight to it.
Yeah, straight to it. No, but genuinely, you are a trader, right? And you started at the age of what?
I started at 18.
Started 18.
So just taking a step back, trading, and now I have multiple other businesses, but trading was the vehicle or the skill set that's allowed me to, venture off to other things, right?
Yep, definitely.
So started trading when I was 18.
Okay.
Obviously, it wasn't accepted by family,
of course,
right?
yeah.
Because they're not too fond of it, they're not too aware of it.
Definitely.
And for parents, it's like take the traditional route, go to college, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But it's just not something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so started at 18, obviously didn't have success early on.
Yeah.
Struggled for 2.5 years, and year 3, year 4, things started picking up, and then the remainder is history.
I just want to say you are like one of the OGs. I feel like that's actually, it's kind of like, you are, when people tell me like, oh, I used to watch you growing up, like, bro, it makes me feel like I'm hella old. But we're not that old,
No,
bro.
I hear it too.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what?
But this guy is one of the OGs in terms of trading, successful traders. It's also like with the social presence and posting videos out there and whatnot. So you definitely are one of the OGs. I'm sure so many people have probably learned from you and learned from your tactics and methods and whatnot. But how old were you when you made your first million? Let's start there.
I was like 22 on to 23.
22?
23. I think it was like 22, 23 when... And it's also one of those things when like you make your first million, it's not like it happens immediately where it's like, oh, I made my first mil or whatever. I think it just, things start compounding. I don't think the first million is like the big thing personally. I think it was like the first 100K.
Of course,
right?
Steps to it. Definitely.
Once you're able to get to the 100K, in my opinion, or have the skill set to get there, everything else starts coming down, right?
Got you. Facts.
Before that, it was initially, how do I save up this money?
Yeah, definitely.
And then I think when I was like 19, I kind of paused and I said, instead of trying to save up this money, how do I build a skill set and how do I get so good at something where I can actually make this type of money in a short period of time, right? Like when I was 18, I used to tell my mom all the time, I want to make 100 grand a year, 100 grand a month, right? Okay. That's the number, like 100 grand a month.
And that's like such a crazy, bro.
And my mom was like, you know, people don't make that.
Yeah.
Like some people barely make that a year.
Of course.
And till this day, she comes and she tells me, she's like, you used to say you want to make 100 grand a month, and I used to think you're crazy. Yeah. And it's just like the idea of being able to look at the world around you and realize that everything that essentially exists was in a way created by humans.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like everything was given by God in terms of material and stuff, but humans
what we
put
do with it and how we do
it.
And I feel like everybody, would you say, it's like, especially like, I don't know, in America or being in the West, we are so grateful because we have these opportunities to be able to become something, to be able to do something, right? So credit does go to our parents.
Oh, 100%. I always say that. Yeah. 1,000%. I say, like I tell my dad and my mom, even till today, I'm like, thank you for making the sacrifice of leaving Pakistan and coming to America.
Exactly.
Right? And coming to a country where you're not coming with a lot of money, you're not coming with luxuries, you're not coming with a million friends and family, you're coming alone, and you're coming here ultimately to give us a better life.
Exactly.
Right? So for me, I was born in Pakistan, and coming here at the age of 5, 6 was a pure luxury.
Of course.
And that luxury is something I don't take for granted.
Definitely.
Right? So I'm extremely thankful to my mom, my dad, for sacrificing so much and putting me in this predicament to succeed.
See, the thing is, because we always say how grateful we are and how thankful we are for our parents, and that is so 100% true, right? But we also got to realize is that it wasn't easy in how they raised us. Because me and Umar were talking a bit, and like I feel like you've had a traditional Pakistani Desi household, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you say like our households in the sense of like just the way the parents are, the moms are?
Yeah, things you shared
the same,
with
right?
me, very similar. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And it's like yes, they're the reason why we are even in this position to begin with. So again, shout out to you, Mama G, right?
To go off to your point, they do create this level of pressure and their ideas on us. Yeah. But I don't think it's a bad thing because I think it comes from a place of love.
Of course.
Right? Like when parents come and say, hey, I don't think this is a good career path. I think you should do this career path. Yeah. It is coming from a healthy place. It is not coming from a place where I want the worst for you.
Of course.
Right? We take everything they say because we're in two different generations, two different cultures, that, what my mom's saying, what my dad's saying is so bad.
Of course.
Right? Like even with me when I was trading, my mom and my dad I don't want to say supportive, but they were kind of like, it was very new to them, you know? They're like, hey, I think, going to school and becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, something that they're familiar with their whole life is what will work because we've seen it work. Yeah. This is something we haven't seen work, so we don't think you should do it.
Exactly. And to them, that was their only sense of security.
Yeah.
Be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer. They didn't understand the other concepts of all these things. And I feel like all first-generation minority families can relate to that because they don't understand anything else outside of that. Yeah. That's the only thing. So let's go back a bit, right? Because now, mashallah, you've been able to attain so much, and it's like, but in the beginning, like the process was almost like in every other household the way we are, like your mom telling you to do this, your dad telling you this. So what was your route that was set for you in the sense of like, what did your parents tell you that they wanted you to become or wanted you to do?
So I think for my dad, it was a lot like be a doctor or something in that route.
Obsession,
right?
Obsession with doctors.
It's like 100%. Become a doctor or something in that field. Or just something that's like a respected field that has a license or has a degree. Yeah. Same thing for my mom. My mom was like, hey, go to college, do something along the lines of becoming a doctor or engineer or something, whatever the case is. Yeah. And my thing is not that I'm against it. It's just not something I was passionate about.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? I always say people that are doctors because they enjoy it, I have the most respect and admiration for them. Yeah. Because without these professions that exist, the world wouldn't move forward, right? Yeah. So it's nothing bad against the professions, it's just not something I'm interested in. Definitely. Right? For me, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like the passion thing, right? I feel like that's what I've learned over the years as well. It's like, if you don't have a passion for something, it's like you're just going through the day and your life starts to become a bit like you're doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for that respect. You're doing it for your mom, your dad, your parents, whatever the case may be. I guess my thing is, it's like, I guess how do you navigate as children growing up, right? And like people that are in this position right now, like how do you navigate that? Because one, you do want to become successful. It's a matter of taking a risk, and at the same time, you want to make your parents happy. So like, I guess, how did you navigate, like, of not like making that decision? I don't want to go the doctor route.
I think for me, I knew if I don't go the doctor route and I pick another route and I am good at that route, or I do become successful, my parents will become happy at the end of the day, right? It's very different if I'm picking a route that doesn't financially make sense or doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form, right? But if it's something that I'm like, okay, well, my mom and dad don't understand, which is okay, and they won't understand everything, well, how do I make them understand? The only way I make them understand is by being good at it, by being successful at that particular craft. So me, I never argued back and forth with them. It wasn't like, no, you're wrong, you don't understand it. That's wasted energy. It was like, okay, you are right.
I need to
like,
that's
right? No, it's like, hey, you are right. Up until this point, like,
how do you do that?
The first 2 years, like the first 2 years or 3 years, like I'm hearing my mom, like, because I went to college for 2 semesters and then I dropped out.
And that was probably like crazy to them, right?
My mom,
you dropping out of college?
My mom was like, no way. I was like, Mom, just 1 semester.
Okay,
And at that time, I was like, you know what? Screw it, I'm just gonna do it. I dropped out. I was like 1 semester, and then that obviously carried over to forever, right? Still like, I still took my break. And then at that time, I was just kind of like, hey, I'm gonna prove them wrong and show them. So every time they would say stuff about it, and you know, parents, they make comments.
Wouldn't the comments get to you though?
No, because they weren't wrong. Like imagine you're playing basketball, right? And you suck. And I go, Waj, I go, Waj, you suck at basketball. How do you beat that?
Like, why would get better? I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna get better.
I think if you use your words to fight back with me, I think you're an idiot.
Exactly.
But now if you go to the gym,
put in that work,
and you come back and you're like, look how good I am now. Now what am I gonna say? You still suck? So in our world, it's like, okay, well, if you want to do something outside of like not go to college, right? You can't be at home sleeping in until 2 p.m. and saying, Mom, college is a scam, but here I am staying home until 2 p.m. What are you showing them? What are they seeing in active activity that you're doing to do the other route?
Exactly. Because nowadays I feel like there's so many more routes to make money and to become successful.
So many more.
But our parents don't know that, and they don't see it, and they don't know it. So I guess back to your point, right? Especially you started when a much younger age, right? And even years ago when it was even, now it's like, I feel like it's a bit new age with tech, social media, and I feel like parents are now more adjusted to it.
Genuinely, and I know this is going to sound so bad, not even parents know, I can stop trading and I can pick another career that is way off trading, and I can probably make $500,000 a year very easily.
So it's easier. So now you say it's easy to make money.
It's a lot more easier now when you understand the new forms of opportunities that exist. Right? Because the internet is so new, and there's so many new opportunities that are opening up, and it's like, how quickly can you identify these opportunities, and how quickly can you take advantage of them and like leverage them, right?
And I think our parents don't understand that. I mean, now they are, right? But I feel like back then they don't understand that. All they know is the traditional path. So what you're saying is don't argue with them.
Don't argue with them.
What you're saying is like, if you, like, they're not going to understand, right? Maybe that's what they're not going to understand. Instead of trying to convince them, trying to, hey, look, Mom, I don't want to go down this doctor route. I don't want to go this line. I want to trade. I want to go into real estate. I want to do these things, which they're probably, and at the end of the day, like you said, they're looking out for you. They just want their best interest for you. But I guess it's like when they make these comments, you just kind of like tune it out, and you just put your head down and just keep like, and show them one day that, look, I can do this. I can be successful.
A thing I think a lot of people can do is they can give their parents a 2-year timeline. Hey, Mom and Dad, you want me to go to college? I'm 19. Let's just say, and I'm not saying college is bad, by the way. To each their own. Just know what you want to take. I think college is a great place for people to build foundation, soft skills, and so many other things. Like, I didn't go to college, but after I got older, I realized the importance of a good college. Of
course.
The networking element, the soft skills you develop, and so on. But I think give your parents that 2-year cycle. Hey, Mom and Dad, I want to do this for 2 years. If it doesn't work, you're right. I'll say as you do. But give me 2 years. But in those 2 years, create that pressure for you and go and figure out a skill set and leverage that skill set.
Exactly. And I think see, even for me, right? It's like I did law and I'm doing law, but it's like, even if I were to take time off and like, hey, Mom, just give me a year or 2 years to kind of do what it is that I really enjoy doing, love, that I'm passionate about, I still will hear comments.
You're going to hear the comments.
And be like, oh, like, look at you. Like, what are you, like, you're not, like, like you're wasting your degree. Why did you get your degree then? I'm like, I got it because you like, to make you happy.
Yeah.
But it's like, you constantly hear these comments. Mamas, if you watch this, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about because you do make these comments. Even my grandma, bro, they keep saying, don't leave law, don't leave it. And I get it, it's coming from a place of love, but like give me a year or 2 years to just like let me figure it out, right?
I get it.
But at the same time, now here's the thing. A lot of people are in different situations, right? And I feel like, what about those people that are in the situations of like maybe they can't take that big of a risk because they do need to have financial security, and a job like that allows for that financial security because they have to provide for their family,
of course,
provide for their parents. So then, how do you balance that? Like, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. You have to look at your situation, right? So me at 18, I'm not married. I don't have a family to take care of. I don't really have much bills either, right? Yeah. So at 18, I have more control over my finances. My expenses aren't that much. I can take the most amount of risks that I possibly want. Now, let's say you fast forward to today, with my family, me taking care of my family, et cetera, and so many other things, I can't go and take crazy swings the same as I could maybe when I'm 18.
Gotcha. Yeah,
right? So that does depend. And if you're in a predicament where you have to factor that in, then you have to start finding extra time to give to that new craft and start making sacrifices.
And that means waking up earlier.
Waking up earlier, giving up. Like, for example, for me, for 3 years, I didn't go on vacations. I'm not traveling. I'm not going to places. I'm not even hanging out with my friends. Like, not a single person is seeing me. It's like just waking up, starting my day, learning, putting myself in as many situations as possible to generate any sort of luck, consistency, whatever it is.
How do you stay motivated throughout that? I think a lot of people like, and how have you been able to feel motivated throughout that process?
So
you know what I mean?
I've had days where, you just don't want to wake up and do stuff. And I think that's humanly natural. You will feel that. I think if you go into like every day I'm going to wake up at 6 and feel great, I think you're setting yourself up for failure.
Of course.
I think it's more so like I know what I'm going to feel. I know I'm going to wake up some days and not feel like doing X, Y, and Z. But I understand that I have to incorporate a level of discipline that's more important to me than the motivation.
Of course.
Because motivation will come and go. But once you have this level of discipline of doing something, that will overtake the need or want to do stuff.
Definitely. And I feel like, bro, like, do you feel like it's ever enough in the question of like, mashallah, bro, you bought your parents a house, right? You did it, mashallah.
Same to you, bro. Mashallah, same to you, man.
Thank you, man. And it's like, that was one of my dreams, goals, but you've been able to like retire your parents, right? And you even like, we're just saying all these facts, right? Let's throw these facts out there. You know what I'm saying? Mashallah to everything. And again, this is just to show you guys that it's the motivation, the inspiration for people to know that we can also make it and we can also do it, right? And that's the goal, to be able to get to these places that we see other people and see people that have made it and like, yo, like, let's learn from that process, learn what they did. But you bought your sisters Ferraris. Is that true? Yeah. Is that true? Right. Okay. Yeah. How much does those cost? So what was that?
So one was a Ferrari 812. That was $650-ish.
Damn, you just bought it just like that.
Yeah. And then the second,
just like straight up.
Straight up.
Like no bank.
Nothing.
How does that work out? Yo, this is interesting. How does that work? Is it more of like a wire?
Yeah, it's just a wire.
Just a wire?
Just straight wire. You wire the final amount.
Straight to them?
Right. Straight to them.
Man, must be nice. So you just just like
straight wire and that's it.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you can just straight up bank wire to them and okay, here's your keys. That's good. You don't have to deal with interest. None of that.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Sometimes it makes sense to go through it just for tax write-offs.
I want to get
to
that. I want to get to that level, bro.
Right, but it's just one of those things. I didn't want to have a 7-8K payment or whatever. It was like, here you go type of thing. Yeah.
And then that was how much? Sorry,
$650.
Okay, so and then you bought your other sister one as well?
Yeah, her. I mean, every guy knows about this car, SVJ.
Okay, I know about this as well. Yeah. It's Lamborghini, right?
Yeah, Lamborghini SVJ. Gotcha. That one was about $800.
Oh shoot! And you also?
Yeah, same.
Why? Just like that?
Just like that, yeah.
Yeah, man, it must be nice to be your sibling. And what about the house? Was that the same way?
No, so the house for tax purposes
yeah,
and
of course.
You get a lot of benefits and stuff.
Yeah,
it's structured a little bit differently.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's just not, also when you're banking with certain banks, a special way, you get interest rates. Like if I show you the interest rate levels and what we're working with, it's like a no-brainer. It's like free money at that point.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. But no, so it's like, I guess for me, even when I'm dealing with that, we were kind of just talking about this, right? It's like, you want to be able to focus on a craft, and it's like you shouldn't let those comments get to you, right? But as we all know, like the Desi parents are like, it's like toxic in a way. It's toxic in a way. But my thing with you, it's like, how did you essentially like feeling like it's never enough, wanting to make them happy, wanting to always please them? Do you still feel like you get that? Like, at what point did it become where it's like realizing like, hey, like, you know what, maybe I can't please them. Like, do your parents still expect more out of you?
No, genuinely. Like,
No, they don't?
I think we crossed that wall probably when I was like 25.
Okay, but how? And at what point, and what did you show to them? What, like, how was that? How did you break through that wall?
I don't think it was like an exact date of when that happened. It was like a gradual increasement of like them realizing, like one, like my dad being retired.
Of course, like you're able to do these things
right?
for them.
You start seeing that. The other house we had, paid that off.
Gotcha.
Right. Whatever the remaining mortgage was, paid that off for my parents. Taking care of all the bills, take care of everything. So it's like when you start seeing those things, and then you start seeing the company you're building, you start hearing about that from other people, and then you start. I think it's a combination of all that. Also, it's a level of social element, right? That plays a role on top of what you're showing in a tangible effort, right? Because it's like I can go to my mom and dad and say, oh, look, I'm doing so well with my business or with my trading or whatever it is. And I think when you show them something tangible, like, hey, here's your house, it's paid off. Here's this that's taken care of. Here, you don't have to work. Then the social element of other people going up to them.
Of course, and they'd be like, all these type of stuff, all these things.
So I think those things start playing a big role.
Factors into them.
And I knew that at the age of 18. And it's like I used to have these conversations with my mom. I was like, watch, one day you'll see how this and that don't matter, and how this will start working. And I say it until today. She comes and she's like, wow, everything you said kind of happened.
So it's almost in a way you got to prove to your parents. I think that's the only way to actually do it, by proving it to them. I feel like talking it, like you said,
doesn't work. It won't work.
And it's like you're talking and get with the wall. It's like you keep banging yourself. So I think you just got to show it and prove it to them, and not let the comments get to you.
You got to understand, right? Your parents, right? Let's just say they're 50 to 60 years old, right? They've lived their whole life
knowing one
thing, and it's their behavior is engraved in them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no human possible way where you can change someone who's 50 plus's behavior with words. It's just not possible.
Exactly.
With action and consistent action. Even if you start a business that makes $1 million this year, right? And your mom sees it, your mom will still be nervous because it's like, oh my God, maybe it was just one lucky year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's okay. And that's a good concern for a mother to have.
Of course.
What if it is just one lucky year? Then you do a year 2.
Of course.
Then she gets a little bit comfortable.
Yeah.
But she's still concerned. Then year 3. Then year 4. Then it's like, okay, finally. Then year 5. And then as that consistency keeps growing, that's when they start getting to that comfortability point. Like even for me, I know like 22, 23, as I start making some good money, I know the thought process was like, oh, this is not sustainable.
Yeah, of course.
You know, this is not, it doesn't have longevity behind it. You do it 1 year, I know, my dad heard stories of people in Wall Street that have made a lot of money one year,
or whatever,
and then just lost it. So that exists. And my thing was, I like that. It's the same thing we're talking about with Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you can have people that doubt you, and it depends how you use that. Are you going to fight back with them, or are you going to show them in the game?
Exactly.
Right? And parents is the same exact element of like, okay, I'm going to show you and prove it to you without fighting back and forth with words.
So like, stop wasting your energy on time and trying to convince our Desi
or
parents,
anyone.
brown
Don't
parents,
convince anyone.
You're right,
you know,
you're right. But the thing with anyone, it's fine because I don't care about anyone. But when it comes to your parents, it's like you want to please them and make them happy, right? And that's the whole thing. And it's like, we were talking about this a bit too, right? Why do you feel like certain kids growing up in our families, and certain, like maybe because I'm a middle child, and he was actually breaking this down for me, and it actually just blew my mind. Because it's like, why is it that I feel like I want to take this responsibility? I want to, like, even though it's like I'm taking this, I want to make it feel like I want to make them happy. I want to please them. That people pleasing mentality and attitude that a lot of brown kids go through, bro. We all kind of go through it. Why do you went through it, right?
Yeah.
Where does that kind of come from, and how do you kind of, like, you know what I mean? Like,
so a lot of it does come from childhood trauma.
Let's say it, bro. Let's say what it is.
Yeah, you go through some things as kids, and you may not remember it, but when you are at that young age, there's a lot of things your subconscious mind stores, and it keeps in your mind for a really long period of time. And you don't remember it right off the bat, like, oh my God, my parents maybe did this, or my siblings did this, or maybe my brother got more attention than I did, or maybe I got more attention, or whatever it is. All those things start getting stored into behavioral
even things that you don't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like even things that, because for me, I never felt like I was treated like a middle child. I don't know. I just never had those. But you're saying subconsciously.
Yeah, everything is stored.
It's like stored, and it automatically makes me want to be a people pleaser, and wants me to please my parent, wants me to please my mom, wants me to like she told me I need to become this, I'll become that. Like
it could be just like thinking out loud, right? Let's just say in your situation, your brother maybe didn't please your parents.
Yeah.
You maybe saw how it impacted your parents and they didn't get pleased.
Got you.
So the pain you saw in them made you you didn't want them to have that pain, so then you kind of took that weight
And
on
did you feel that way? You kind of went through the same thing, taking responsibility?
I think I naturally have a thing of like just wanting to take care of.
But is that from the trauma?
Like,
I don't like how we feel like we have childhood trauma, even subconsciously, but it's in a way true.
I don't know what that's from. I haven't like dove into that yet personally. But there are incidents that may have happened that may have triggered certain things, right? I think until I really sit down and like dive into it and like
have to have a therapist next time on the show. We'll
start working through it, right? Until then, I don't know.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, man. I just feel like growing up in a Desi household, a lot of people know the pressures, right? I guess going back to the pressure, you felt the pressure, did you?
I felt the pressure and I elevated the pressure on myself.
And the thing is, it's real.
Yeah, it's
real.
People
don't understand. Like we were talking with friends, like, bro, the pressure is real from Desi parents.
I do want
parents.
I do want to shift the pressure a little bit, right?
Let's talk about that.
The pressure, right? The pressure is real. And anytime anything bad happens, it's all perspective, right? If something bad happens to you right now, you can take it and you can get overwhelmed by it and you can feel stressed about it, or you can take that situation and break it down and go, okay, well, this is pressure, but is it really pressure?
Yeah.
Then you go, what is really pressure?
Yeah.
And when I think about that, and even at 18, 17, 16, and I was like, what's really pressure?
Yeah.
Pressure to me is you being in a third world country
Facts.
and having no opportunities. No matter how hard you work, you cannot break out of that cycle.
Yeah.
We are in America.
Yeah, facts.
You have an opportunity ladder that exists.
Definitely.
So it's like, okay, there's pressure, but there's also a solution.
Yeah.
If you you go to Pakistan, there's pressure,
but there's no solution.
But there's no solution. That's real pressure.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
So like that,
it's like, okay, you feel pressure from your parents. Woohoo!
Yeah.
You're going home. You have food on your table. You have all these things that are still accessible and available to you.
Yeah.
What are you doing to move things forward? And like I said, that's where the mindset thing kicks in, right? You can either take these things that come from society, your parents and people, and start making it negative, or you can say, hey, I'm blessed to have this opportunity. I'm gonna take advantage of this.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? You can take away. And I feel like I've learned, like, thankfully, I guess, feel like my brother and I, we haven't been able to like crack under the pressure, right? From the comments that people, like the comments that parents make or whatever the case may be. And it's just one of those situations where it's like comparing you to this neighbor's son, that cousin, this person, that person. Did you ever get compared? Like,
all the time, bro.
Right, you were like, look at him, usko beta, dekho wo kya kar raha hai, this and that, right? Like,
and when I would get compared as a kid, I would then hate that person.
Yeah, right.
And like as I got older, I was like, he did nothing to me. Like there was nothing done from this individual.
Like the comparisons, the comments, and I feel like, how does one? And I feel like, alhamdulillah, I haven't been in a situation where I've let that get to me, right? But it's like comparing, look, he got into that school, he got into this school, he became that person, or he became that person, or look, he became a doctor, this and that. How do you deal with that psychologically and mentally?
I think for me, I liked it.
Really?
I genuinely liked it.
The comparisons.
I don't hate comparisons, especially that. Like, I'll give you an example of one time that stuck in my head. This is like when I was 18, 19. And one of my dad's, I don't want to say because I don't want to make it about who it is and like, but this person got a job offer of like $5,000, $6,000 a month. This was like in 2012, 2013. And my dad at the time, brought it and said it and like, look at this kid, how well this kid's doing. And at the time I was I'm going to college, not a great college. I don't want to become a pharmacist or a doctor. I'm kind of confused.
And you're probably like working like day jobs.
Yeah, I'm working day jobs. I'm working delivery. I'm working at a pizzeria. I'm doing like a lot of different stuff.
Wow.
So I know when it was said, it was more like, look at how good this person is, right? And I could have sat there and like been hurt about it, or I could have been like, which is what I did, like, okay, well, that person's at that stage right now, 25, 26, cool. I like it. I like the pressure that's going on me to now make me work harder. So then it goes back to your motivation thing. That's all the motivation I need.
Use it as motivation fuel.
Right? That's all the fuel I need. Now, when the days I do wake up, I'm tired, good. I know what I was compared to, who I was compared to.
Exactly.
So those things, like, I personally like, and it goes back to, once again, the Kobe thing.
Yeah, facts.
When you have these people that you, like, replicate and you understand their mindset, you're like, what makes Kobe Kobe? And the reason he's my favorite player is his mindset.
Of course, facts.
Right?
Love
so
Kobe,
for me, that same thing kind of translated into my personal life. Okay, I'm compared. Cool. Well, I'm going to take that as fuel to become so good at whatever I want to be good at and not quit and figure it out.
So it's like the comments that parents make. I feel like I've never had any sort of like, if outside people say it, I don't care. But it feels different when your loved ones, when the person you like you know, that's your parents, your mom, whoever the case may be, your grandma, all these people that are so near and dear to your heart. I feel like that's where it probably affects a person more. Right? But you still use all that as like if anything, use it as motivation to prove them, hey, look, I will be okay. I am okay. I'll make it one day. Like, it's all good. I got this, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, right.
Because it's like, what purpose does it serve if you take that and let it hurt you?
Do you feel like it's ever too late also? Like, you started at an early age. What about those people that are in their late 20s, early 30s, you know, or like still figuring it out? They just graduated from college and they don't know what they want to do. They still figure out they're working on 9 to 5, which is nothing wrong with that. They're working 9 to 5. They want to get out of this rut. Do you ever feel like it's late?
I don't think it's ever too late.
Yeah, right?
I know people at 40 years old that switched their life up. They didn't like the trajectory of their life, and they're like, hey, I'm 40, and I want to shift everything I'm doing, and I want to fix X, Y, and Z. I don't think it's ever too late. It's just getting up and knowing what you want and having a game plan to it.
That's the thing, game plan and executing it, right?
Executing at a very high level.
No matter what profession anybody is, whether it's like a business, whether it's even in your work, I feel like we talked about this, consistency is probably the name of the game. And no matter what you do in life, if you're consistent with it, then you eventually start to see the fruits of your labor, I feel like,
Absolutely,
right?
You just got to show up every day. And regardless of how you feel, what it is, just figure it out. That's like the thing, because I've met so many smart people, and I realized the biggest difficulty people have is knowing how to apply themselves. Knowing like, okay, well, I'm smart, but how do I apply myself to be able to generate money? How do I get good at a skill set? Okay, if I do have a skill set, how do I leverage this skill set into a viable business to make money? So those are things I think people need to start developing. And it's also like, where do you spend your time?
Facts.
You know, if you're like,
who do you spend your time around?
Who do you spend your time around? And like when I was younger, and even now, if I'm ever around a person and I go, well, hey, Waji, this person is doing so well, and that person has to say but to everything, I don't want you around.
Facts.
Right? Or if I have to share something and you want to knock it down,
of course.
I don't need that negativity in my life. If you don't want to believe in it, especially if you're like outside people, friends, whatever, cool. We can agree to disagree, but I don't need that negativity. I don't need that, discouragement around me.
And surround yourself with people that are genuinely want to see you happy and succeed.
Stop
saying that but aspect of things.
Right? And then it's the same thing of like, where are you spending your time? Like if you're like when people are always like, I want to be successful, I'm like, okay, well, walk me through your week. And it's like, I'm watching this show and I'm going on this trip and I'm like, BS, you don't want success as much as you say you want it.
So what would you say is a true formula for success? I feel like you've gone through it. You've gone through life, and success to a lot of people.
I mean, it depends on what you think is success, right?
Exactly.
That's number one. Everyone
well, say success. Everybody sees it as a value of monetary. Sees it as social status, right? And we can get into that of like, did that ever change? Like once you made it, right? We'll get into that after. But how? Like I feel like everybody chases that level of success, right? And and you can tell us how it feels once you've chased it, and then what comes with the aftermath, because a lot of people don't talk about that, right? And like what money now actually means to you, but like. For anybody that's out there that wants to get to that point, what would you say is a formula?
First, I think you have to know what success looks like to you. Like to me, I say this, the most happiest time of my day or happiest time of any part of my life are very little things that don't have to do with a large amount of money. Like for example, we have an in-house sauna upstairs.
Yeah, nice.
And me sitting in that with my dad and just talking to my dad for 20 minutes a day or 20 minutes whenever. That to me is like true success, opposed to me making X amount of money. The money does contribute to being able to do certain stuff 100%.
To have that sauna,
right?
to have that sauna.
It contributes to all of that, but things like that are like, I think when you have a family, when you have people around you, loved ones, where you can share things with them. Where if I want to not work for the next 2 weeks, right? And there's no level of money. I think after a certain dollar value, life doesn't really change much. It's just bigger this, better that, right? It's like having the ability to say, hey, next week I don't want to work. Next week I want to go on vacation with my family.
Exactly.
I think that's the freedom to do what you want, when you want, and how you want, and where you don't have to answer to a higher power. I think that's success to me.
For sure.
Right?
I think so as well.
Right?
Being your own person, autonomy.
1000%. And then I think, what's the formula? I think it's finding a skill that you are good at with a combination of something you enjoy, not all the way, right? Because there's an element of like, follow your passion that goes around social media, And it's like when I was trading my passion at 18? No, I got into trading because I wanted to make money.
Exactly, facts, right?
Right?
Yeah,
I wasn't like, oh my God, trading gives me
Yeah,
this passion.
exactly.
I was 18 and I'm like, okay, well, I want to make money.
Yeah.
Right?
And it gave you, it was like a vehicle to make you money, and that's what it was.
1000%. It was like, is it fun? Is it good? Cool. But now, if trading still wasn't fun, and I knew this is what's going to make me money, I would still do that, then go after passion. Because I'm not at a, following your passion is a luxury.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? A lot of people get that misconfused. So it's like, if let's say I'm at a point where I'm at 0, and I love painting, or I have a job that I can make a good amount of money from, at that particular moment, I'm like, okay, well, I need the money more than my passion that cannot or maybe won't generate money.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. No, 100%.
So it's finding that level, something that you're good at.
Yeah.
Something that's a skill set that you're actually good at, that you can monetize or make money off it.
What if you don't know what you're good at? Like people
try different things.
Try different things.
Try different things, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Just try different
And then
things.
I guess it's like see what you're good at, but also see what that has possibility to make money and like monetize it and like have that faith in yourself, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like, yeah, what if you're good at something, but what if there's not much opportunity for you to like make money off of it? Right?
It has to be like scalable too.
Scalable.
Like when I looked at things for myself, I always looked at businesses that were scalable. I never wanted to, like for example, like the pharmacy business, right?
Yeah.
When I looked at the pharmacy business, I was like, okay, well, if there's one location of a pharmacy,
Yeah.
there's a certain number you can make off one location. Same thing goes for delis and a lot of other businesses. You're capped at a certain number.
Yeah,
Regardless of what the number is, you're capped. Then when I look at businesses at this stage, I'm like, okay, well, what business am I not capped at? Yeah. Anything that's on a very large scale, anything that's scalable, that can reach billions of people, if not hundreds of millions of people.
Exactly.
So it's also picking that level of business that is scalable.
And I feel like nowadays, all the traditional path, it's all capped. Unless you do like businesses, unless you start businesses. And I feel like that is, you know what I mean? Like even in the legal, like I feel like for the most part, it's all capped unless you are your own person. You're not an employee. You're someone that's, you know, like being
anything
able to
where you're
something.
Exchanging your time for money is capped.
Exactly, facts.
You know, like it's not scalable because it's like, even if you work 24 hours a day, you can't exchange more than 24 hours a day. So it's like on scalability, you have to have leverage in money, people, and time.
Yeah, exactly.
And those three things and resources is what allows you to break through.
Yeah. And what would you say, I guess, so going back to that whole thing, like I feel like you never let that pressure get to you, and you told us kind of like how it's just like use that pressure and feel it. I guess for me, it's like, did you ever doubt yourself during those times and when your parents would make comments and like they did? So basically, they wanted you to go the doctor route, right? Yeah. And you kind of like dropped out when you were in the second semester?
19. I was like
19 years old, right? I guess So did that ever like? Did you have doubts? Did you ever doubt that you're gonna make it? Did you ever
1000%.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It was two extremes. Like there's days I would like be so confident.
Of course.
And then there's days I'm like, damn, yo, making money is so hard. Like, will I ever?
Exactly.
I'm like, yo, will I ever? Yeah. Like I have this number I'm trying to make, and I'm like, will I ever even amount to that? Yeah. Right. And
that's how to deal with doubt. Because even say for me, like with social media, can I make this something where it's like, what if I'm doubting if this is something, maybe I got to do law? What if, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you navigate that doubt? And like, how do you keep pushing through it? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because ultimately, like, if you're not going to keep pushing through it, then you're not going to be able to see what it's going to become on the outside. But at the same time, doubt is one thing, but if also you're not waking up early, you're not putting in the hard work, you're not putting in that time, like you said, asking what your week looked like, right? How do you deal with that doubt?
I think first is understanding feeling doubt is natural.
Yeah. Facts.
Every person feels it.
Yeah.
You go to the top of the top athletes, performers, whatever the case is, they feel doubt. They feel uncertainty. They have felt it at a certain point, even when it's just natural. Our body has a natural response when we go into new territory. Yeah. We have these defense mechanisms that kick in, and that defense mechanism in new territory will be doubt, right? Yeah. So, okay, let's start breaking this down. Number one, I know I'm going to feel these emotions. Yeah. Right.
And it's okay to feel those emotions.
It's okay to feel these emotions. Like, for example, when I started TradeZella, right, when that whole idea came in, because it's such
and tell people what that is a little bit.
It's a SaaS platform, trading journal for traders, right? It's like
a software company that you're building,
software company, right? And I don't have a background in software. I've never done, but I also never had a background in trading.
Of course, yeah.
So it's the idea is you don't need a background in something, depending on what it is. Like I can't become a doctor without like going through the process, right? So it depends what it is before people take it out or, you know, but the idea is to know the emotions you're going to feel, right? So it's like I always tell people like, okay, well, when people like, I want to be successful, I want to be a millionaire. I was like, okay, well, Are you ready to feel doubt? Are you ready to go through this level of stress? Are you ready to feel the highs and lows that come with it? Like, let's lay out all the bad. Forget the good. Yeah. Are you ready to go through the bad? Because you're going to feel the bad first before you feel the good.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of the time, when people really process it, it's like, oh shit, I'm actually not ready for that. Yeah. Okay, are you ready to sacrifice these things? Are you ready to sacrifice going out? Are you ready to sacrifice not watching shows, Netflix, any of that? Are you ready to take that extra time and start reading books, learning new topics? Are you ready to put yourself in new uncomfortable situations, right? So it's like, when you start looking at things from that perspective, you're like, okay, well, I know what I'm going to feel. Yeah. And it's like, I read a book on this when I was young. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways.
Oh, wow.
And it kind of talks about that a little bit. Yeah. And
who's it? I guess is it a good book? Would you recommend reading it?
For me, it was like the concept was pretty good, right? So for me, it's like, I know I'm gonna feel doubt, even in my upcoming life, whatever things I do, I'm gonna feel doubt on a lot of stuff, right? But the idea is to still do it. The idea is to be as prepared as you possibly can, and take action to that. So for me, I was unsure at 22, at 23, even after I have made a good amount of money, I'm like, oh man. So it's like, when I have made a good amount of money and I'm starting this new project, that doubt is still there.
Of course.
Now, even now, we're working on a new tech project at the current moment, and it's like, I still have doubt. I'm like, well.
But that's what keeps you excited and keeps you more motivated and keeps you going.
But that's what I'm saying early on, the perspective part.
It's a perspective.
Right? So what are the things that keep you alive, right? What are the things that you're excited about? When you do these new things, when I do new things and I go into new territory, I get excited about it. And I like that.
Because too, for you, like I feel like early back then, right? Making money was like, that's what excited you. Do you feel like now it's like.
No. It's changed. Right? It's changed.
Yeah, right. It's like, it's crazy, right? For you, it's like that making money part is not as like as exciting anymore. Even though you could probably, if you want to trade, wake up one day, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You can do your thing, you can do it like that. But it's like now that's not the exciting part. It's more so building something.
I always say that money is a byproduct of whatever it is you do, right? Yeah. So if you have a good service, you have a good product, money will come to the door and show up. Yeah. So in like trading, my goal isn't to make money. My goal is to be a good trader. If I am a good trader, I will make money. I will make a lot of money. Same thing in any profession. If you are the best lawyer, you are going to make the best money.
That makes sense.
Right? So
whatever you're doing, whatever profession, try to be the best at that. Stop with the idea. A lot of people get into professions, do things. Why? Because it's going to make them money.
Yes.
So I think it's changed that perspective of like, don't do something and force something just to make money. Yeah. The goal should be, let me be good at this. Let me become great at this. Let me be the best version I can at this and be the best that I can do. And money will naturally come. So don't chase stuff for money. Don't be a doctor for money. Don't go to law for money. Don't do this. Like all these things.
It's a good, viable career path because you want to see like, hey, is there upside here? Yeah. That's good. But
I think it's not the longevity of it, bro. It's not sustainable because if you're just doing it just for money, right?
You're not going to be happy.
You're not going to be happy, and it's not going to be the longevity of it. It's gonna fade away. So that's why I feel like going back to the passion idea.
So see, for me, at 23, I went through like a really weird phase because from like 18 till 23 and a little bit of 24, I like chased money.
Yeah. And give us a bit of perspective. Tell us how, like in those years, like when did you make your first?
22, 23 is when I made my first mill.
Okay, but how did you feel when you first, like, let's say you're 10K, first 10K?
First 10K, like I said, I think because it's trading, it's not a compounding thing. It's like you make a trade, you make money, you lose money. It becomes very
flowy,
inconstant, right? It's not as constant as most things are. I think it's more like, I think if it was something else, I would have maybe felt it differently. With trading, I think it kind of messed that up for me.
Gotcha,
right? So it's like when trading, when I was 23-ish, is when I was making a few $100,000 a month.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right?
A month, like consistently.
Consistently, right? Wow. Like I think my worst month in like that year of 23 and some of 24 was less than like $150,000 in a 30-day time period.
That's crazy, yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So.
And for you, that was just like, how did that feel when you made, like, was it just like part of the game, like part of the process?
I started getting numb. And I started getting numb in a bad way where I started hitting this like wall of depression or wall of like emptiness.
Yeah, facts.
Right? Because it's like you're doing this, but you're making money, but you're like, now what? You go to like, now what? You go to now what? And then I would start spending it on stupid stuff, thinking that's going to make me happy. But it didn't do anything.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. I believe that after a certain number, like I said, it's just money doesn't make a big impact in your day-to-day life unless you love to just blow money and be an idiot, right?
Yeah.
I'm not into like going to clubs and spending 20K, 30Ks in tables and all that.
I feel like with you, it's also like wanting to make money, and I feel like same with me. It's like to support those around you, for your family, and obviously enjoy the nice things, luxury in life, and it's be able to provide for those that you love. And I feel like a lot of kids out there, that's what we try to do with our parents. We want to get to that point where I can like give them the world like they gave to us. And like for you, it's that situation, buying them his house, mashallah, doing all these things. We want to get to that point so we can provide for them, right?
Absolutely.
And it's like, do you feel like if you have that mentality versus like just to make money just so I can buy this nice car, buy this nice watch?
I mean, I think early on, if that's something that's going to drive
motivate you,
right? Like it's also knowing yourself, like, hey, is this going to drive me? Is this going to motivate me? If it's going to drive you, if that's what's going to get you up in the morning every day, if it's a car, get up every morning. It's fine. But most of the time, from what I've seen, is when people achieve that goal and plus more, they're like, I don't even really care about this anymore, right? But it's like, if at that point it's going to motivate you, sure. I think, like, I know a lot of kids, they have these dream cars, right? Even me, when I was younger, I had these dream cars. And it's like, oh my God, if I have this car, I'd be so happy if I had this car. And after achieving it, it's like, it's cool, but like,
what is it really?
Does it really do anything? Really, not really. You don't really care. So I think at 23, 24 is when I went through that phase, and then when I went through that phase, a lot of it was just kind of like, okay, well, now let's learn and understand.
Was 23, 24 where you were making, like, was that like the best year that you had, obviously, in terms of
every year just kept
getting bigger,
up until every year was
so that was when there was hit the million mark.
23, 24. So when I hit that stage, I kind of had to do a real deep reset.
It's like what it is that
what do I like, because I also didn't get a chance of knowing who I am, what I like. It's like 18, going right into working, 16, 18 hours a day, trying a bunch of different stuff, not having time for like self-reflection, right? So when I went through that, I was like, wow, I actually realized so many new things about myself. Like, for example, I'm so lucky to be in America and have this opportunity. And when I started going down that path, I started finding myself, even though I hate using that word.
No, I know, but it's true. I get what you mean. Like, it's like you finding what you enjoy, what you like, what you do.
And it's also in your early days, we as creatures, especially men, right, are very different from women in terms of what we're insecure about. We're very insecure about our career and financial.
100%, because that's how we're defined.
Right.
As men, I feel like we are defined through financial security, financial success. What is he doing? How much is he making? What has he become? And that's also within Desi culture, right? Because Chai Talk, let's bring this back.
You get the thing,
The thing is, it's like, bro, like, even when you're like, if, say, a girl's family will define, like, that's the first question that comes up.
That's, it's funny.
What does he do?
My mom said that to me when I was 18, when I was like, I want to leave college, or 19. And I told her legit word for word. I was like, I promise you, there's not a person I'm going to get to a point that no one's even going to ask me if I went to college. And she's like, no, you don't understand. When it's time for that day,
they're going to ask
the first thing they come is, where did he study?
What does he do? What's his degree?
It's the same, like, going back to that again, against the fuel thing of like, well, I'm so fueled to get to such a high point that is not a concern.
Exactly.
Right? But yeah, those things do impact.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of people, like, we're in that process. We're trying to make it. And it's like, obviously, like, and part of that plays a part, right? Where it's like the society, the culture, you know what I'm saying? Like that first, the minority, where it's just like, oh, what did he become? What does that become? Oh, I can't let you marry my daughter, or such and such. I can't, like, because you're not this, you're not that. So it's just like, I feel like that's part of it, right? As men. But going back to your thing, I don't want to.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
But going off back to your thing, so I would say, okay, so what was the most you made in a year through the process?
Up until now, trading-wise, other stuff, I'll be honest, I haven't been public with. It's just, even the trading stuff, I hate sharing it just because it's
I know, but again,
$7.5 million trading-wise.
Okay, trading-wise. Got it. And then at what point did, like, going back to that idea, right? When did money become, like, not, like, it was just like,
I think after 25, 24,
really?
25, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
24,
when it became
25. I have a very healthy and unhealthy relationship with it, and it develops where I will spend money for convenience, and I've spent, and my mom till today, like my mom has her habits of like, she'll get like Fiji water from Costco because it's like $4 cheaper.
Yeah, of course.
Whenever I'm home, opposed to me ordering it off Amazon. Like, I'll come to the front door.
Of course, obviously.
Right? So it's like, you get to a point where it's like, money is a tool. The way I look at it is it's a tool. And it's like, for me, it's like, how do I utilize this tool? How do I make it create, convenience? And now it's like, when I chase the thing, whatever the thing is, money becomes a byproduct of it.
Also, so would you say when you bought your house, when you brought your family the house, was that probably like the best feeling? Was that probably like
I think that's the first time I felt accomplished.
Yeah, right?
Like, that's the first time in my whole life, which to me, when I processed that, I was like, wow, how, like that's so weird that this is the first time I felt accomplished. Because
Same.
it's like you're on this race for a really long time.
Yeah.
And once you're on this race, you never have a moment to like just pause and think.
Of course.
Right? And as humans, we want more and more and more.
That's what it is. Even with me, it's like I feel like that was my goal, right? To do that for them. And so when you even do that, right? And it's like you feel that's like your greatest accomplishment. Like I even still tell this day, label as my greatest accomplishment. A lot of people are striving for that, and they should, right? But then I feel like it gets to a point. Then it's like, okay, what's next, right? You always want more, and then at the same time, I feel like the other side of things, like maybe they're not ever gonna be happy with whatever you can. I don't know. It's just that feeling of like until like, when does it ever become like your parents are happy for you, or they're just happy, they're fine, they're content, or is it more so on us where we're like maybe we're just thinking too much into it, where maybe I think I'm not enough, I haven't provided enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not, is it more of like a personal thing because those growing up, I don't know if you want to say trauma, but growing up in that Desi household, feeling like you're never enough, is that like a personal thing?
I don't know.
Or is it, I feel like the comments play into it, bro. The comments is what plays into it, like them saying this, them saying that, look at like the comparisons, all that. I feel like it plays into you not feeling you're enough. And I think a lot of people probably go through that as well. So when do you feel like a person will ever feel like, do you think it's through money? That would be a question. Do you think everything is through money? To feeling like you're enough for those around you? Isn't it play a part because through money you're allowed to do all these things where they feel like, in a way?
I don't think it's solely money.
It's not solely, of course.
Right? So I can break that down in two parts.
Yeah,
right?
I know it's a lot.
It's, imagine you become very successful and you have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you are now utilizing that money by gambling, drinking, partying, doing drugs.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes it's like, you have the money and success part, but what are you doing with it?
Of course.
So I think it's a combination of like, you have a level of success.
Yeah.
You are also a good person.
Yeah.
Right? You are a good man doing right things.
Facts.
And the test that you get with money isn't changing you.
Yeah. And have you had that experience where it's like, now you're much more accessible to everything else, right? Everything is so much more accessible through money.
Yeah.
So how do you not let that, I guess, get to you, or like let that affect your, like even people out there, if they make whatever, they start doing this, start going out, they start buying this. How do you not let that get to you in that sense?
I think
staying grounded.
I think one is I never want to disappoint my parents. Genuinely, they worked so hard to put me in the predicament that I'm in.
Yeah.
That's one. Number two, I don't want to disappoint myself.
Of course.
I didn't work this hard to stop and screw everything over at this point. Right? When I was younger, I've seen certain people that did really well for themselves, and through drinking, partying, and getting off track, destroyed it all.
Of course, yeah.
And then I think it's just realizing that you're no better than other people because you've achieved one element of life, which is money. Yeah. And there's other elements of life that exist.
Wow. I feel like we, as humans and as men, we just try, that's our only element that we're chasing. Whereas you don't realize, bro, like, it's how are you as a person?
Yeah.
How good are you as a person? How nice are you to others? How much on the dean are you on? How much, like, these things that really play a part, and we let that kind of fade away.
100%.
Right?
But because people put money as, like, the biggest thing, and it's like, when you flip it, it's like, would you have money and not everything else? Or would you have everything else and not that much money?
Yeah.
Right? So then you start getting it from a different angle, and it's like, well, maybe more money because more money does bring on more problems. Like you hear that saying all the time,
more money,
right?
more problems. You got to move carefully.
In terms of friends, in terms of people in your life, in terms of the attention, so many different things that it brings that aren't good, but it also brings a lot of great things too.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So it's like, for me, it's just ultimately staying grounded, realizing where you're from. You're not better than other people. Yeah. We're all going to die and be in the same place.
Yeah, facts.
Don't think I'm better than this person or that person's better because of dollar value. Yeah, and also, as growing up, I've always hated people like that. Yeah. Like if I go to a restaurant and I see someone treat the waiter there bad, I want nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
like
same.
respectfully, you know?
Like don't let circumstances or whatever you become change you. And that's the biggest thing, right? People, I feel like a lot of people, even social media, when they get big, they have like that thing that gets to their head. Yeah. You should feel like you are no one special. And I feel like credit goes to the way we've been brought up, right? Yeah. It's like, and also Islam in a sense, it's like we never feel like we are better than someone else. And that's how we should always carry ourselves, no matter what we've been able to accomplish, no matter what we've been able to achieve. And I feel like that's probably the biggest thing. Would you say that's probably is the reason why you've been able to stay so grounded?
Yeah, I think that definitely plays a role. I think that plays a role, knowing who I am. Like I don't care about, like, even from a young age, I've never cared to spend money on like clothes, like crazy stuff, and like all those other things. Yeah. It was like I'm comfortable in who I am.
Facts. Yeah.
I'm comfortable in knowing me as a natural person, and that's how I want to be portrayed. I don't want to be portrayed as this guy's nice or not nice because of money or no money. It's like, hey, he's a good person. He follows his moral code of conduct,
of course,
and that's ultimately it.
All right, now another thing. Let's bring it back to Chai Talk a little. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, you are now, because we were talking about this a bit, you're making money, you're a successful martial, you're doing your thing, right? You're able to prove to your parents that you can still do this, right? But tell me, did you still go through that, the whole, your mom asking where you're at? When are you coming home? Why are you not home yet? Don't stay out too late. Like all these things, like did you, you went through that, right? Yeah, right? 100%. And at this point, you were already like successful in the sense that you got yourself and they see that you're doing all this, right? But like you still went through that? So it never ends? Like how does it end? When does it ever end?
It finally ended later on. So it's like, until the age of 23, 24, I think around 23 to 24, sometime around then, 2018, I think. Yeah. I moved out, right? Yeah. I moved to Miami, I moved to Florida. And I think when I moved there and then I started coming back home, it was like odd to me, like, Mom, like, stop asking me what I'm doing.
And she would still do that, though.
She would still do that.
Because now you're home, and that's what, same with me. It's like when I'm home, they do that, but when you're out living on your own, it's like you have that freedom, but then as soon as you come back and you're with them, it's like you feel like you're just in that whole zone all over again. So she would do that. 100%.
And this is like the way I would look at it, and I would get mad. I was like, yo, like I'm doing so well. I don't deal with it.
Yeah, bro, like why?
Like that's what I would tell. I don't ask me, like, you know. But then the maturity side of it comes in, like, okay, well, when I think about it, because a lot of times when someone does something, especially if it's a loved one, it's like, okay, well, let's look at their angle. They're wrong. I don't enjoy what they do, but her angle was like, yo, if you're out until 2 a.m.,
of course,
there's nothing good coming out from being out at 2 a.m.
Of course, that's actually
and then it goes into like, as a guy that's doing somewhat well for themselves, being out at 2 a.m. is only going to bring trouble. What happens at 2 a.m.? What happens at 3 a.m.?
You're studying the trades,
right? So I'm like,
you're studying the trades, man. Come on, dude.
I look at it, I'm like, I get it, but it's just,
overtime.
It's just, it's annoying. But I went through it for a long extended period of time. Now I don't. I think now I think for the
How were you able to break that though? Like, did you have to talk to your mom?
I think I told her one time, because I live in Dubai. I went to Florida. I went to California. Like a lot of different places I lived on my own.
But when you come back, you're living here for a couple of months. Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
So now she doesn't go overstep that in terms of like, where are you? Why are you coming home at 2 a.m.? It's also, I think, when you go to like certain people and tell them about our culture, it's like, oh, well, why are you living with your parents?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I'm going back to New York. I wouldn't not live with
them,
my
of
parents.
Course.
You know. It's the same thing where it's like, if I'm in Dubai, I moved out, sure. But it's like, if I'm coming to New York, why would I go and get my own apartment just for the sake of like, I'm living on my own? Exactly. I think that's one thing in like the American culture that I really disagree with. It's like the moment you turn 18, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to go live on my own.
Facts.
And it's like, why not? If you can and you are in a position to live with your family, save money, invest into your future.
I think the only problem is that it's like when you're living in like a strict or Desi family or whatever the case may be, a lot of people, right? It's like that comes with it, the questions. Even though like you're not doing anything bad, you're not out super late, you're just with friends, you're going out to eat, whatever the case may be, you're doing good, or you're a good person, like you know how to handle yourself, you know not to get in trouble, right? Yeah. But those questions are constantly gonna still come. They're constantly still gonna be there. When are you coming home? What are you doing? Like, or whatever the case may be, where are you going? Even if I'm going to the masjid, bro. Like, whatever the case may be. Like, I'm still getting asked those questions. Maybe not now and not anymore because of Chai Talk. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like that's why I feel like people within our culture, and they want to like kind of live out. They want to be. I feel like because we haven't been able to create that healthy boundary.
Makes sense.
With our parents. So like how. You've navigated that. You dealt with that. So, like, how do you create that healthy
I think
standard,
the
first
that 2-3 years, I didn't have that issue because I wasn't out late at night. I'll be honest. Like, the first 3 years, it was just work.
Forget late at night. Even just if you're going out to, like, grab something to eat, whatever the case may be, even if you're just going here, going there, like, it doesn't have to be late at night. I feel like the questions still come no matter what. Where were you? Who were you hanging out with? What did you do? Like, even though they're just asking from, like, a good place. But, like, how do you create that healthy, like, to get your, like, moms to stop? On you. I
mean, I think it depends on where you're at. Like me going to 20, I can't really fight that.
Of course.
I can't.
Of course.
I would.
But if you're older in your 20s now.
As you get older and as you start having your own life and as you start having your own everything, it's now like you need to learn boundaries and healthy boundaries, Mom. I know you love me and I know you care about me, but I am an individual grown man.
Yeah.
I've lived alone in these parts of the world, and I've done X. I get it. You're overprotective. I get it, 100%. But this is how I've lived. These are the things I've done. Yeah. And
imagine you have this conversation. Like, I'm like trying to imagine me telling my...
It's
also
part of growing up.
As that.
You know, it's also part of growing up. And I think with our culture, it's also understanding the culture you're in, right?
Because they attach themselves so much to the kids.
Right. You're not on your own until you go and you get married, and that's what it is.
Literally the other day, mom was like, get married and I'll leave you alone. Like, where's the correlation of that, though? Yeah. But it's literally, to them, it's like, once you're married, then you are like...
That's what they grew up seeing. Yeah. That in their head, that is like...
Then you're able to be your own?
There's another woman in your life that is feeding you, taking care of you, you're coming home to. She's going to bug you now. It's not me.
Yeah.
As a mother, they're looking at it from that perspective, and it's like... That's the culture they're brought up in. So there's a lot of parts of it where it's like, oh, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But then there's also another part when you look at it, it's like, well, this box of annoyingness keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
You see what I'm saying?
It's all about perspective, I think.
It's annoying, but it's also like, oh, damn, if I don't go home at 2, my phone's going to blow up.
Of course,
If I don't go home, this woman is not going to sleep.
Exactly.
So, damn, I got to go home.
Your mom was the same way? She was
like, I'm not going to sleep.
I'm not going to sleep until you come home.
I'm not going to sleep.
Yeah, right?
I'm like, yo, I'm going to come home
Till this day, my mom does that, bro.
Damn, till this day?
I'm like, stay up. But I'm not, honestly, I'm the same. I'm not going.
But see,
I'm not going home. I'm not doing anything. I'm not coming home at 2 a.m. I'm not doing that.
So it's just things like that where it's like, it just got annoying, and then at one point you're like, whatever, bro.
For your safety, it's the safety thing. I'm like, bro, just like, even if I was out with friends, we were watching, like, there was it's like, for example, like a cricket match. It's super late because it's on the other side, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever the case may be. He's like, oh, why are you still there when you're coming home? For them, it's like they're worried. It's that. And I'm like, bro, but like just drop it, just leave it. But I guess we're not parents, so we don't know how that feels.
That too. Yeah. But it's like I said, it's just one of those things. Just gotta. There's certain things, I think, with Desi parents, you have to learn to ignore the things they say. And if you become reactive to everything they say, you just make your own life miserable.
Yeah, that is so true, man. I think it's that reactiveness, being triggered.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And they're so, like, it can be so triggering. The comments be so triggering. So I guess that has to work with the being patient. Were you ever reactive or no?
When I was younger, I've developed patience. I think trading made me develop patience because it's one thing you need to have. It's also, I've realized, like, you don't need to be reactive in every situation. The strongest people are the ones that can control the situation. So it's like, if you say something terrible to me and I react, I lost myself. I lost my control. But if you say something terrible, I'm like, all right, well, he's probably having a bad day, bro. Like, you shouldn't have said that. But I'm not going to lose myself because of your stupidness. Same thing with parents. Parents portray a lot of things that trigger them. And it's also like, some parents, I will say this, a lot of parents, actually, a lot of Desi parents do have a lot of truth behind the things they say.
Of course.
And what I mean by that, when I was younger, and even now, it pisses me off till this day, when I see kids just throwing their life away.
Yeah, it's happened so much.
They're chasing girls, they're chasing the wrong stuff, and it's like,
Facts.
bro, your parents are still working. Why are you not trying to do something to help your household, take care of them, contribute in one way or another? Right? You don't know the pain. Like I always say this: the pain that they went through and the struggle they went through like, I will never amount to that struggle ever.
We're so privileged.
1,000%. So I think sometimes when they see that, like, yo, this guy doesn't even know how privileged he is. He's out until 2 a.m.
So maybe that's where they're coming from.
It triggers them.
Yeah, that's where
it's like, we worked so hard. You don't even know what we sacrificed to make sure you are in a position to have this opportunity. So I think it triggers them to get mad and go, well, why are you out until 2 a.m.? Why are you not, like, you know what I mean? Despite the safety part.
Of course. That's so true. And I feel like if we as kids constantly have that perspective in mind and just, like, whatever they do say, if it does trigger you, if it does bother you, just be patient. Let it go. Just know that they're coming from their place and stop trying to convince them and, like, be reactive. You don't have to agree with it. It's
just being reactive isn't going to solve the problem. Fighting with them isn't going to solve the problem. It's like, let's look at the facts, right? If your mom says something to you and you say something bad to her, does the end result equal to her understanding? The end result is she still won't understand, then why would you throw in the equation of reacting? Just say, all right, I got it, mom.
If anything, bro, I think now even you're helping me, right? It's like, just prove it to them. That's like, just get to a point where you're so successful, mashallah. You know what I'm saying? It's like get to that point where you can just like whatever they've said, whatever they say, no matter what, they will keep saying it, and it's fine. But use that as motivation and get to that point B, get to that point, get to that end final destination where you're like, hey, look, mom, you can't say anything anymore. Even though they'll still find a way to say something, right? But still get to that point where it's like use that motivation and get to that point. So I think it's motivating for me to hear too. So I can only imagine. I hope everybody else is taking that as well. It's like don't let those comments, don't let those pressures, don't let these things get to you. But at the end of the day, put in that work. Even through 1000%. Me, bro, through school, like I was going through a lot, even when this academic journey, and I still haven't shared a lot of that. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Inshallah, one day I will. But there's so much that you kind of go through, and it's kind of same with your trading and like whatever kind of context you put it in, but you have to put in that work. You have to be motivated. You have to get up early. At one point in law school, like I was treating my weekends as a weekday. I was doing those extra practice. I was doing that. Like a lot of people don't see that journey. A lot of people don't see those nights where you're up all that night. You're up. You're not going out like your friends are going out. People just think that you got to that point. You got into that school. They just see it. You got into that school, but they didn't see what it took to get there. Right? They didn't see how like I wasn't going out to that level. I wasn't going out. Friends are going to bars. They're doing this. You know. I'm putting in that work. I'm grinding. Same with you. They see where you've been able to get to, right? But they don't see the process of all the sleepless nights that it took, of all the hard work that it took, of all the losses, of all the rejections, whether it's school, me getting rejected from this school, getting rejected from there. They don't see all that. They just see the end result. So
it's like I always ask people, right, when they're like, I want to be successful, and I go, write down all the things you're willing to sacrifice. Yeah. And then write down all the things you're afraid of. Yeah. Then start sacrificing the things you're willing to sacrifice, that you need to sacrifice, and then all the things you're afraid of, go do it. Yeah. I used to hate public speaking. Yeah. I used to hate. Really well. I've developed a skill set of speaking. When I was 18, 19, 20, I could not speak for the life of me. No way. Right? I could not articulate my thoughts. I could not articulate what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and so on. These are skill sets that I was like, I suck at. Yeah. So I want to be at this level of success, financial success, so bad that I'm willing to put myself through everything that I'm afraid of. So I went to events. I went to networking events, even though I think they're BS. I went to these events to speak to people, to talk, to get out of my shell. Facts. I was like, I'm willing to sacrifice X, Y, and Z amounts. I think people have to start putting that into it and start realizing that. Yeah. It's the same thing right now. Like, for example, right now, I have a bunch of people that I know that are in Europe, that are traveling. And like this summer, I haven't taken a vacation for a really long period of time. And context-wise, you have to understand something. And I'm not trying to sound obnoxious with this. Of course, no. I could take a vacation tomorrow if I want.
Of course,
right? Yeah. I am sacrificing those things in my life now because of where I'm trying to build some of the companies, because I'm so excited about that. Exactly. And so I'm like, I realized for me to build these things, I need to sacrifice X, Y, and Z. Yeah. I can't have both. Exactly. There's like a saying, you can have everything you want in life, but some things you can't have at the same time. Exactly. Facts. So you have to start saying, okay, well, what do I want more? Do I want to take this 6-week vacation in Europe, right? Yeah. Or at this 6 week, my company's going through a very important transition period. Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to sacrifice this. Boo-hoo, whatever, but I care about this so much. So it's same thing with everyone else, wanting to know, actually knowing what you want and putting in the time and effort for it.
And that goes back to being passionate about what that is and actually finding something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy doing. Don't get into a situation where you're going to be unhappy and miserable. And like, I feel like so many times within our culture, people just get into these situations, and then ultimately the longevity of it, it's not going to last. So like you said, listen to the advice, and thank you for sharing it all.
No, I appreciate it.
But is there anything else that you feel like I feel like we've talked a lot, and I hope so many people can gain so much from this. Is there anything that you feel like, any last bit of advice, or anybody that's out there that's young, or even within our generation, being Pakistani, South Asian, whatever the case may be, first generation, what would you say, what's your advice to them, whatever the case may be?
I think just start wanting more. That's it. Yeah. Like, want more. I think whatever you think is not obtainable is like...
aim big.
Things that people in our culture think are not obtainable, and obviously in every other culture, there's things that we don't think are obtainable, are right there. Yeah. Just from a financial level, and once again, I don't want to make it about money. Yeah. I have had months and I've had quarters where I've made so much money that the 18-year-old me would have never even thought is possible. Yeah, wow. Yeah. Right? Where it's like, I would have been like even happy if I made that in like 6 years. Yeah. Right? And it's like, we are in a place where we can create whatever life we want, however we want, and we have all the opportunity that exists. Yeah. Right? If you go on the Forbes list and you start looking through some of the richest men in the world and some of the richest women.
Find you under Forbes 30 for 30.
Right? So I'm just saying, a lot of these, top wealthy individuals built this life on their own. And I'm not just making it about money. I'm making it about everything. Whatever however you have your life mapped out, think bigger, think more. Facts. And it's all obtainable in terms of the things you want, whatever it is. It's just a way of creating a plan of action. And then also playing the right game.
Facts.
That's a big thing, right? Two people can play two different games. One game is a lot more scalable. It has more upside. So also knowing what game you're playing and how to play that game.
And become the best version of yourself in that.
And become great at it. And just strive to be good. Strive to want more, have more. I think...
And there's nothing wrong with wanting more.
There's nothing wrong.
Because I feel like a lot of times in our society, in our culture, they tell you like, look, that person doesn't have but it's nothing wrong to have goals and visions and like want more to be able to become, as long as you have the right intentions.
Yeah, look, you can want more, and when I say want more, people go, oh, you don't need all that money. It's not that you need the money, it's a game, right? It's a game of playing, like the way I look at it, it's a game of playing like TradeZilla. I want to grow it to $1 billion plus. Like,
and that's what's going to get you to go and keep going.
And those things drive me. Like, I'm at a place where I don't even have a limit on things where like the 18-year-old me would be like, oh my God, like that's so crazy. That's so
That is crazy. Now that you look at your 18-year-old self, you're like, whoa.
Exactly. And when I have those reflections, I'm like, wow, like I never saw a road to $1 billion. Not that I'm there, but it's like I see.
Now you see it.
I see the road there, and it's like, okay, I know the things I need to do to get there. Yeah. And maybe I don't get there in 10 years or 5 years. Yeah. Maybe I get there later. But there's an idea of me playing this game at such a high level. And I think when people start thinking at that high level and start looking for that, the world also opens up, the doors that it needs to. Facts. So just start chasing higher dreams. Start wanting more for yourself in every way. It can be health, your fitness, whatever it is, things, your family life, your personal life, your relationship life. Stop settling. Like just don't settle for stuff just because things are not going right. This is what I want. I'm not settling for anything less than that, and that is all.
Love it. That's a perfect way to wrap it up. That was, wow. I see you got a little passion in it. You're like, bro, stop 100%. Settling. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope, and I've even for me, man, even just hearing all this is motivating for someone like me as well. So I just hope that people out there, the youth and whatever you guys are going through, you guys can relate to our growing up and our upbringing. I feel like every South Asian minority, first generation, you guys can all relate to the idea of how things have been, what's been expected of us, what we need to do to get there. And inshallah, I think the best way you just put it, it's like want more, and at the same time, it's like if you want to be successful, then what are you doing to get there? Absolutely. It's like, what does your week look like? Are you messing around with the right types of people? Are you putting in action work? Are you waking up early? And that's the biggest thing. So I hope, and whatever, if you guys are in the academic scene right now, are you putting in more hours than your peers to get you ahead, to get you into that program, to get you into this program or X, Y, Z? So we wish you guys all nothing but the best. And again, thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
You're a real one for coming on here.
Appreciate it,
very motivating, very inspiring, and hopefully we can do this again. Maybe we can, we'll be sitting in Dubai. You're going to Dubai. So
let's do it.
Part two in Dubai, ladies and gentlemen. Inshallah, I'll be able to get my spot in Dubai too. We'll keep you able to do it.
Let's do it.
Mama G's probably watching this, and she's like, damn, man, that's a good sign.
I didn't even know.
Mama G's like, that's it. I'll get Mama G on here next time. She'll probably be asking you. Like,
dude,
you know what she's going to start doing now?
What?
I'm going to start freaking getting compared at. Bro, why did you do this? She's waiting for her Tesla. Like, she's waiting for a car. I'm like, bro, like, what more do you want from me? Like, they're squeezing out of me, bro. That's the funny part. But, hey, Mama G one day is coming, inshallah. I will stop taking your comments, and I'll prove it to you. That's what you said, right? Just 100%. Prove it to them. So, wish you guys all nothing but the best. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, bro.
And inshallah, we'll see you again soon. Again, all you guys, thank you for tuning in. Go check him out. Go watch all his videos if you guys want to learn more about his trading style, his methods. It's successful. You have so many YouTube videos up, so go ahead and see what he's up to. And I feel like there's so much more we can learn from you. So that is what's amazing. So go ahead and check him out all down below. And inshallah, see you next time. Stay blessed. And always stay beautiful. Peace, y'all.
Thank you.
Peace.